So this is my first LinkedIn webinar. So if someone could tell me if it's working or not, just leave a comment saying yes or no. And hopefully it is working. Hopefully people can hear me. All right, so we're good. I don't think I can see comments, or maybe no one's left a comment yet. I'm not quite sure. So I'll just start, and then hopefully if someone does leave a comment, I'll be able to see it. So thank you for joining. We're going to talk about how you can build a personal brand that will generate you more business and more leads and ultimately help you make more money, which is great. That's why we're all here, right? And if you see me looking from side to side, it's because I'm using two screens. So I'm not just like bobbing my head. So first things first, before we get into it, people buy from people, right? That's true. We all know that. But more specifically, people buy from people who they trust. How do you come to trust someone? By getting to know them. So I'm going to introduce myself quickly. Hopefully you'll get to know me and then you'll trust everything I ever tell you. That's the plan anyway. So I'm Courtney. Hopefully you know even that one detail about me. And I'm a content and social media specialist at Pager. Day to day, I work on Pager's marketing and our personal brand offering, both of which help recruiters and our clients grow their personal brands and help them make more money on LinkedIn. Like I said, that's why we're here, right? In my previous roles, I was a recruitment marketer. I know there's quite a few recruitment marketers signed up to this, so I thought it was worth mentioning. And I joined Pager because when it comes to personal branding, they just get it, and it was something I was really interested in. I spoke at the Rec Expo in March, which was terrifying, to be honest. I was quite open about that. I did like a few videos about it. But it gave me the confidence to do stuff like this. And this is my first time doing a LinkedIn webinar. And if you asked me a few months ago if I would have done this, I probably would have said absolutely not. But we're here, so that's great. Outside of work, I'm a big reader. You can have me on Goodreads if you like reading. You can just, I think you just search someone's name. So if you search Courtney Noonan, I'll probably come up. I'm a bit of a data dork, so I love being able to see like how much I've been reading, what I've been reading, and like tracking everything. I'm an Arsenal fan. If we're connected, you'll probably know that. It's a bit of a sensitive topic at the minute, isn't it, being an Arsenal fan? And if we're connected on LinkedIn, or if you've spoken to me for more than 5 minutes, you'll already know this, but I do love memes. I'm partial to a GIF. I love a movie reference. So yeah, expect stuff like that in here today. So before we get into the actual webinar, and before we talk about how you can make more money on LinkedIn, I just wanted to tell you what we're going to be talking about. So we'll go through what personal branding is, just because some people might not know. how we can use our personal brand to generate more business using LinkedIn, and I've got a few actionable tips to help you get started as well. So before we get into it, I've just got one question I want you to think about. Do you have a personal brand? Sorry, I just got a notification. Again, I can't see comments, and I don't know if it's because no one's commented yet or if I just can't see them. But yeah, just something to think about. Do you have a personal brand yet? If you do, that's fabulous. I'm not going to argue with you. But if you don't, then you'll hopefully take a lot of value from this. So first things first, we're going to talk about what personal branding actually is. So I've broken it into two parts because I thought it might make it a bit easier. And I know most of us probably think we know the definition, but personal branding is talked about so much on LinkedIn. It has been for the past couple of years. And I do see that there's often confusion about what it actually means. So yeah, like I said, two parts. So you've got the personal aspect. That's everything that makes you, you, which is a nice thing if you think about it. So that's your personality, your experience, and your expertise. And then the brand aspect, that's what differentiates you from your competitors. So other recruiters, other recruitment marketers, whatever job you do, but I imagine most of you work in recruitment. Oh, someone's commented. Thank God, I can see comments. That's good. I was worried then. I was like, am I just here on my own? So yeah, and the brand aspect as well shapes how other people perceive you. Now that I've got comments on, I'm probably end up going to get distracted looking at them all the time. So if you're mathematically inclined, I've put like a little equation, or it's more like a sum really. I doubt it's complex enough to be an equation, just so you can see what goes into personal branding. So it's your identity, your values, your expertise, your personality, all of those add up to how other people perceive you, like I said before. So think of your personal brand as what people think or say about you when you're not in the room to actually tell people what you're all about. So I can tell you, I'm an expert in personal branding. I probably wouldn't say that. But I might tell you that, right? But I want you to know that just from knowing like my LinkedIn presence, having seen me at events. I can't rely on me telling you that. All right, I've got another person as well. Thank you very much for letting me know you're here. So have a think about what you will say when you're not there to tell them. What do you want to be known for? The answer to those questions is your personal brand. Yeah, that's great. But how's this going to make me more money? That's often the question I get when I do this sort of thing with recruiters, which is a fair question. And I'm glad you asked me that question because I'm going to tell you. So for the sake of time, I wanted to focus today on more like actionable tips about personal branding. But I thought this would be really helpful to demonstrate what you can actually get from building a strong personal brand. And if you are a recruitment marketer, you'll find this helpful. In the past, this slide has done a good job of convincing recruiters that their personal brand is a BD tool. So if you want, you can take a picture of it. I'll try and pose, or I can send it to you after if you message me. So yeah, as you can see, when you start building a strong personal brand, you're going to start getting more inbound leads and you're going to start doing less cold outreach, hopefully. Obviously, I'm not saying cold calling is dead. I won't be controversial today, but hopefully you'll be able to do less outreach and you'll get more inbound. That's the point. You'll build predictable pipeline. Don't worry if you've never heard that term. We'll talk about it in a couple of slides' time. What happens when you do those things? You'll have more candidates to sell into clients and you'll have more clients to pull jobs from. All that equals more placements. More placements equals more money equals more targets hit. Then you're going on more incentives, lunch clubs if your agency does it. Promotions, if you want to go from consultant to senior to principal, whatever your structure's like. And all that leads to job satisfaction, hopefully. So I know that already probably seems like a lot of information in a short amount of time, which is why it's important to remember. The goal isn't overnight success, and the goal is not to go viral. That's not why we're here today. Funny note, Darren from Recruiter Web commented on my post the other day and said that the Wolverine mask looks like two Batmans kissing. So now every time I see this meme, that's all I can think about. So if you take nothing from today, maybe just take that. So yeah, there's no such thing as overnight success. But if overnight success and virality isn't the goal, then what is? You were warned that I was an Arsenal fan, so I had to put something in here. So I mentioned a couple of minutes ago about predictable pipeline, and a predictable pipeline is about building a system where you can consistently attract, engage, and hire the right talent on time. So we don't want to be scrambling to fill positions at the last minute, right? That's not a nice way to work. So you want to have candidates ready for when a job comes in, and you want to have jobs ready for when a candidate comes in, essentially. And building a sustainable personal brand takes time, so you need to be patient. You can start posting today as soon as this webinar is finished. That doesn't mean you're going to be known as like a trusted authority from day one. That's just not how it works. Personal branding is definitely a long game. It's like long-term BD essentially. So what I always like to tell people is personal branding is all about posting valuable content consistently. That's always like my main bit of advice. Like if you connected with me on LinkedIn, you've probably heard me harp on about that. I say it quite a lot, but I really want it to stick in your brains. And fun fact, I haven't actually seen Lion King before. When I was looking for an image to go with this slide, it just occurred to me. I was like, yeah, I've never watched Lion King. I don't know why. It's not intentional, but maybe that's my homework. I did say there was going to be movie references. So now we know what personal branding is, why it's important, how it can make us money, how are we going to actually build our personal brand, where we're going to get started. So I'm going to go through a few tips that I think are really essential if you're just getting started, or maybe you have sort of the skeleton of a personal brand, but you're not really sure like how to develop it. These will be really good for everyone. So first things first, you need to optimize your LinkedIn profile. So before you've thought about your content plan and what sort of content you're going to make for your audience, go through your profile, do a little audit and think what can be improved here. So why is it important to optimize your LinkedIn profile? The main thing, it enhances credibility. So a well-optimized profile looks professional and it makes people more likely to take you seriously and to trust you. Why do we want people to trust you? Because they're more likely to buy from you. Remember I said that at the beginning, the more you trust someone, the more likely you are to work with them essentially. So candidates and clients are more likely to engage with a recruiter who has a strong online presence. So if you're calling a potential client and then afterwards they look at your LinkedIn profile, like we all do, you want it to be fully filled out, fully optimized, because otherwise they're probably not going to take you seriously and they're probably not going to trust you and want to work with you. It seems like a small thing, but it has a big impact. And it's not just about like your about section, which is the main thing that people focus on. It's about filling out every single part of your profile so it drives home the message of your personal brand. So your profile needs to say who you are, what you do, and who you do that for. So when you do this, you need to have your target audience in mind, your target hiring managers and your target candidates. And then once you've done that, don't be afraid to add a little bit of personality, let people get to know you. I think I haven't updated mine in a while, but I think mine says something about Arsenal, potentially Iron Man. It definitely says don't DM me unless you send me a meme. It definitely says that. I'm never deleting that. So another question for you. It's rhetorical, don't worry, you don't have to answer. How likely are you to respond to someone with a LinkedIn profile that looks a little bit like this? Probably not very likely. Hopefully no one sat there like, you know what, that actually seems like a really good profile. No offense to Adam, but from Adam's profile, you can't tell who he is, who he works for, whether or not he's actually a recruiter. So you're probably not likely to accept a spec CV from him. You're probably not likely to trust him with your next career move. You're probably just going to ignore Adam's message, which is sad, but it's Adam's fault because he hasn't updated his LinkedIn profile. And I told you I'm an Arsenal fan. I did scramble last minute to put this together because I just couldn't resist. But yeah, no offense to Adam. I don't think Adam's a real person. But yeah, this one's for Adam. So I've got you like a little checklist of everything you need to do to optimize your LinkedIn profile. Like I said, if you want, you can take a picture of it. Or if you don't want me in it, just message me and I'll send you like a copy of the slide. You might want to refer back to it. Or like if you're a recruitment marketer, you might want to send it to your recruiters. It might be helpful for them. So yeah, even if you think your profile is perfect, it's still worth checking and going through and doing a bit of an audit, because I promise you there'll be something that can be improved. An example of this is, so I ran some personal branding sessions internally, and we were talking about, I think it was LinkedIn recommendations, and someone was like, but you don't have any. And I was like, first of all, why are you calling me out? But second of all, you're right, I don't. So then I made it my mission to get some testimonials. If you guys want to leave me a testimonial, feel free to do that. I literally did a customer webinar last week and I could have asked them to do it. I'm going to go and message everybody personally. But yeah, feel free to do that. And if you want to know more about how to optimize different sections of your profile, then stick around at the end because there'll be a QR code to our LinkedIn playbook. And that has like a few more details on how to optimize your profile. And it's got some really good stats in there as well. So I'm not trying to sell to you. It's like a free thing. So make sure you don't run away. Second thing, you're going to post valuable content consistently. Obviously, I've already introduced you to this, but it is important. So I feel like I say this all the time, but there is a reason for it. So consistency looks different for everyone, right? A post a day is ideal. That's what I try and tell people. Like if you can post to LinkedIn every weekday, that is fantastic. But it's when you do that, it is difficult to keep momentum, especially if you didn't post often previously. Like if you've only posted twice on LinkedIn ever, the chances of you going from 0 to every day and keeping that up are very minimal. So if you can only commit to 3 days, that's fine. But if you do those 3 times a week for the rest of your life, maybe not the rest of your life, but the rest of your career, that's fantastic. That's your idea of consistency, which is perfect. And if it helps you, you can schedule content as well. Obviously, you can do that through Pager. If you're a Pager customer, it makes it easier. But if you're worried about how scheduled posts perform, the algorithm doesn't treat scheduled or live posts any differently. I just find scheduling posts a bit easier because like sometimes I'm busy. Like the past couple of weeks, I've been really busy, like planning this webinar, the customer webinar last week. So I went through and like scheduled a few posts just so I didn't have to think about it on the day. But then sometimes I'll go through times where I don't schedule anything, and every day I've got time to think of a unique idea. It just depends on your workload, I suppose. Little example of my schedule, just to talk about consistency a little bit more. So this was my schedule for March. Obviously in March, I had a lot to say. I talk a lot. I've got a lot of opinions apparently. And I've organized my content by categories just so I know that I'm hitting all of my content pillars. So I like to post a variety of like Pager and work stuff, personal stuff, a few memes, personal branding insights. And I just want to make sure I'm hitting all of those content pillars, like I said. And the reason I put this in is because someone asked me a couple of weeks ago on LinkedIn, they asked me a really good question. And they asked me why I don't post on weekends, which is interesting. So I thought that's really good webinar content. And it's not because I don't think you should post on weekends. I actually think posting on weekends is really good. I just don't do it because I post so often in the week that I think the people probably deserve a break. But if you do post on weekends, you're likely to see a drop in impressions just because there are fewer people online. So don't worry about that. It's not you, it's just people. But you'll probably see a rise in engagement because there's less content for you to compete with. People are more likely to engage with your content. So posting on weekends is a really good idea if you want to do it. And if you're a recruiter, I'd absolutely recommend posting on weekends because when people are looking for their next career move, they're likely to be applying for jobs on weekends, right? If you think back to the last time you applied for a job, you probably were sat on your dining table Saturday and Sunday looking through LinkedIn. So with that in mind, candidates are on LinkedIn on a weekend, so maybe you should be as well. If you don't want to be on LinkedIn on a weekend, just schedule your posts. So next tip, be an engaged user. And on the surface, you can be like, what does that even mean? So we'll break it down. So this transcends just posting on LinkedIn. This is about being engaged on your own post and on your network's post too. So you want to comment on relevant posts that come up in your feed. You want to join discussions and you want to build relationships with those that you want in your network. So perhaps other recruiters in your niche, potential candidates, potential hiring managers, or maybe me. So best practices for like commenting and being an engaged user. And it seems a bit wild to say that you need a commenting strategy, but I absolutely think you do because commenting adds to your personal brand without you actually need to create content, which feels like a cheat code. I'm not going to say hack because I don't like saying LinkedIn or social media hack. It feels a bit snake oily. So yeah, I've put some what I think are really, really good stats, and hopefully they encourage you to comment more on LinkedIn as well. So engaging with comment increases the reach of your posts. LinkedIn's algorithm favors active discussions, so posts with replies are more likely to appear in other people's feed. So when someone comments on your post, make sure you reply. Even if you can't reply like immediately, you might be in a meeting, you might be busy, try and reply as soon as possible because LinkedIn favors active discussions and more people will see your post because of that. If you want, you can screenshot those stats. They are really good stats. Next thing, show, don't tell. So also, what a film. I haven't seen this film in a while, actually. I need to go and rewatch it. And I think I've only ever seen the first Matrix. More homework for me, more films to watch. So what I mean by this is don't just tell your target audience things, show them. So don't just tell them that you're working on hot jobs. Show them that you're a recruiter that you can trust, they can trust with your next career move. Don't just tell clients that you've got a perfect candidate for them. Show them your expertise and position yourself as a go-to recruiter in your market. So you might be thinking, how do I show candidates and clients that I'm a recruiter that they should work with? How do I communicate that message? You need to create content for your target audience. Don't create content for yourself. And this seems a bit silly because you might be thinking, who else would I create content for? But it's so easy to get into the trap of just making content that you would find helpful. But often you're not your target audience, right? So you need to make content for them instead. Also, I hope any marketers appreciate that meme. So ask yourself what content your target audience would engage with. What content would they find valuable? And value can take different forms here. Valuable can be entertaining, educational, informative. Value isn't just telling people things, it's showing people things, like we said a couple of slides ago. So this could be CV tips, career advice, market insights. Obviously, you know your candidates, you know your hiring managers better than I do, hopefully. And another really good stat for you, an average social media user scrolls through 300 feet worth of content every day on their phone. That's just their phone, not even their laptop. So you've got to think about how you're going to stand out from the other content that they see in their feed. How are you going to differentiate yourself from other recruiters? So one thing that's really helped me is asking myself this one question. And I say this to everyone because it really helps them get in the mindset of creating content for their target audience. So before a post goes out, before I hit live on a post, I always ask myself, would my target audience engage with this? This goes for if I'm creating content for me, content for Pager, or if I'm helping a colleague with their content. I always ask this question: would my target audience engage with this? If the answer to that question is no, then the post doesn't go out. And that seems a bit extreme. But if I don't think that my target audience would engage with it, why would I post it? Because I'm posting for them, right? So yeah, that's the last point of this, because I really wanted to leave you with that, because I think it's a really good question. So I think that takes us nicely on to any questions about anything we've talked about today. Obviously, I get because you can see each other, you might feel a bit shy to ask a question, which I get. If you don't want to ask a question, you can DM me. You've probably realised that I love a conversation. So yeah, if you've got any questions about any of the slides, you want to hear a bit more about something, just message me and I'll be happy to answer you. Try and message me today because I'm off tomorrow, because I'm going to the Women's Champions League final in Lisbon. You probably already know that because I've been shouting about it on LinkedIn. And don't run away. Remember the playbook I told you about? So if you scan this QR code, this will take you to Pager's LinkedIn playbook. And like I said, it's got some really good information about how you can optimize your LinkedIn profile. And it's got some good tips as well for LinkedIn in general. So definitely download that. I did think with the QR code, I was like, this is a perfect opportunity to rickroll everyone. But I don't want to build a bad reputation on my first webinar. So I didn't do that. So if nobody's got any questions, that's it. And I can't believe I've finished pretty much exactly on time. I wanted to leave a bit of time for questions, but if no one's got any, I will love you and leave you. Thank you for joining me on your lunchtime. I know it's difficult to join these things around work and meetings and stuff. So yeah, I hope you found value today. We're going to be doing more of these. So if you've got any questions or topics you really want to know more about, definitely message me, because it's great for planning content and planning what I think people would want to see. So yeah, like I said, any questions, just message me. And enjoy the rest of your lunchtime if you're still on lunch. And thank you for joining me. Bye.